Welcome to today's press conference. Thank you so much for coming. There will be two statements, first by the foreign minister and then by the Swedish counterpart, and then you have the opportunity to ask questions. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Maria, a warm welcome to Berlin. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you here in Germany. Germany and Sweden share not only a close cooperation, but also a common compass for us who live close to the Baltic Sea. That is very important. Together, we defend freedom, security, and European capabilities to act, especially in times where many things seem to have gotten thrown out of joint. We feel how indispensable such reliable partnerships in Europe are, and this is a partnership we share with Sweden. I want to strengthen these partnerships because our values are under threat more than ever before. Russia's war of aggression rages on unabatedly. The Kremlin bombards cities, power grids, abducts children. It is a war with the clear goal to eliminate a free country. The freedom which is defended in Ukraine is the freedom upon which our Europe is built upon. This is why we fully agree. We have to continue to support Ukraine as long as it is necessary and as comprehensively as necessary and possible. Weapons, training, security guarantee, and sanctions against Russia, all of this are indispensable investments in our own security, because it is clear that a victory of Russia against Ukraine would not bring peace, but would just be an invitation to conduct more aggressions, has become unambiguously clear in the past days. The unacceptable violation of airspace by Russian drones in Poland and a few days later in Romania speak a clear language. Putin will continue to provoke and escalate as long as we don't set him clear boundaries. As countries bordering the Baltic Sea, we know all too well how Russia is trying, by way of hybrid tactics, to gradually destabilize us. In the Baltic Sea area, we're witnessing a new quality of these threats since a couple of months. Spy drones above critical infrastructure, undersea cables which are sabotaged, and almost daily jamming of our GPS systems. And these attacks are directed directly against our security and are meant to sow mistrust and insecurity. Gotland, the strategic island in the heart of the Baltic Sea, is under pressure, and our reaction to that is clear, and I want to underline this: deterrence, military strength, and unity. Sweden's NATO accession was a historical step. With Sweden and Finland within NATO, we tremendously bolstered our defense capabilities in the Baltic Sea area. And we show this also by the NATO surveillance mission Baltic Sentry both of our countries are participating in. Dear Maria, we're working closely in security policy, and just as closely we're working together in the field of European policy. Sweden and Germany are working closely together in Brussels. Together, we want to advance the EU's enlargement for the people in Kiev, Chisinau, and Tirana. Europe is the hope for a good future, and we need to fulfill this hope. It is in our own intrinsic interest, because all the spaces we don't fill are being filled by other actors. But enlargement also needs reform. Our union needs to remain capable of acting as it grows. And this is why Sweden and Germany are in favor of majority decisions in the field of foreign policy. We are campaigning and committed to effective instruments in order to protect the rule of law. And we stand up for a European Union which stands united internally and acts with determination externally. Security, defense, competitiveness, these are the priorities we need to focus on. Without the cooperation of like-minded partners like Germany and Sweden, this modernization will not succeed. Innovation partnership Our innovation partnership with Sweden is a prime example for this cooperation, whether it's research on renewable technologies, digital infrastructure, or new defense technologies. We join our forces in order to achieve tangible progress, which strengthen our economy, to increase the security of our citizens, and make Europe more resilient. Germany and Sweden, this is a robust and strong partnership, even in difficult times. Maria, I'm delighted and happy about that we can build upon this together for the benefit of our both countries and a strong Europe. Thank you so much.
Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much. Johann, thank you so much for welcoming us in Berlin. As a neighbor, with a neighbor and friend in Germany makes Sweden strong.
Threat, both in our neighborhood and globally. Most importantly, we, the EU and NATO, are in the midst of a long-term confrontation with Russia. That is why partnerships such as the one that Sweden has with Germany are essential. Therefore, we have agreed to strengthen our cooperation further bilaterally, multilaterally, and plurilaterally. For example, in the Council of the Baltic Sea States, where we work together to make the region safer, more sustainable, and more resilient in the face of current and future challenges. Within the EU, within NATO, around the Baltic Sea, and I know that closer cooperation between Baltic Sea states is something that is very important to you, Johan. We have a solid common base. Sweden and Germany have long, close economic, political, and cultural ties. Germany is Sweden's biggest trading partner. Our industries are innovative and closely intertwined. As NATO allies, our cooperation has become even deeper. Sweden's and Germany's security and defense policy cooperation has never been as strong, and it will deepen further. In regards to the recent events in Poland and Romania over the past week, I am glad that our bilateral strategic innovation partnership strengthens industry, competitiveness, entrepreneurship, and our security. I would also like to thank for your steadfast support to Ukraine. We need to continue this support, military, humanitarian, economic, and political, and encourage our partners to step up their support as well. Finally, I would like to express great appreciation for the fact that Germany, Chancellor Merz, and you, Johan, is so clearly pursuing our common interests, including in transatlantic dialogue at the highest level. We live in challenging times indeed, but we also see opportunities to make our citizens safer and more prosperous. The Swedish-German relationship offers many such opportunities. Together we pursue and develop solutions that deliver jobs, growth, innovations, and security. Together we show that democracies are strong, can get the job done, and lead the way into the future. Thank you, Johan.
Dann kommen wir zu den Fragen.
We will proceed to questions. DPR has the first question. Foreign Ministers, a question regarding Gaza. There's an independent investigation by the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, which concluded that Israel is committing genocide. Do you agree with this? And after the ground offensive has started against Gaza City, is it time to sanction the right-wing extremist ministers and the Gaza Israeli government? Well, the events mentioned in the report are subject to courts, and as a representative of the executive, it's up to the courts to decide about the accusations. The report draws attention to this, but it is clear that the incidents that are described in the report are deeply worrying indeed. All partners are bound by humanitarian international law in armed conflicts in order to end the suffering in Gaza. It is crucial, and we reiterated this, it is crucial to have a ceasefire, finally, and it is important that humanitarian assistance is provided and that hostages are released, and this has been a consistent position of the federal government. And we clearly said the new offensive directed at Gaza City is the absolutely wrong direction. We reject this, and we communicated this to the Israeli government. We made it clear it is, in the end, forms the basis of the restrictions we pursue when it comes to supplying arms. Let me reiterate my appeal to the Israeli government and, of course, also the appeal to everyone who has contact to Hamas. We appeal to engage in negotiations and to seek a way forward to release all the hostages. It's the right way forward, not a military continuation of this conflict. The federal government is closely monitoring the developments in the Gaza Strip and is going to assess the situation, and our position is very clear. Annexations are illegal in international law and would trigger would have a political reaction.
As regards today's news about the attack on Gaza City, we from the Swedish side are extremely worried, and we have been very clear from the very beginning when these plans were presented that any change by force of territory would be a breach of international law. And we are extremely worried about the situation in Gaza, and we mean that we need to put more pressure on the Israeli government to let humanitarian aid in, but also on Hamas, that has such a big part in the suffering that we see in Gaza. And as regards what we heard about today from UN on the genocide issue, I mean, this is in line with what we've heard from many researchers during the last couple of months. And we have since long a tradition in Sweden, regardless of what government we have, that we do not make any statements on whether it's genocide or not until an international court has formally decided. But we do have an obligation to stop and prevent genocide from happening. And that is why Sweden is one of the biggest providers of humanitarian aid to Gaza, and that is why we want to put more pressure on the Israeli government, for instance, by stopping the trade part of the association agreement, or also putting sanctions on extremist ministers in the Israeli government. Thank you.
The next question is from Katharina von Arndt by the Swedish broadcaster. Yeah, over there.
Ja, Deutschland hat ja nicht.
Germany does not question the EU-Israeli trading partnership, but Sweden and other countries in Europe want to see it differently. They want the trade partnership to be stopped. What do you think today? Is it possible for Germany? I just laid out our position on the conflict in Gaza. Germany bears a special responsibility and has a special relationship to the State of Israel. And it's in a basically justified fight against terrorist organizations like Hamas. But we'll take a close look with which means and at what cost such a fight is fought. And we made it very clear that the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip is unacceptable, and that the continuation of the conflict with the aim of conquering Gaza City is the wrong direction this is headed to. We are engaged in close discussions and intense discussions with the Israeli government. We believe it is important to have this contact. We took a significant measure by suspending the supply of arms that could be used in the Gaza Strip, and these measures need to have its effect. And the Federal Republic of Germany has decided to take part in the conference on the two-state solution hosted by France and Saudi Arabia. I will attend this conference. We supported a corresponding resolution in the UN Security Council. Our position remains clear that we don't acknowledge a Palestinian state, but a two-state solution needs to be possible. And in that sense, it's a position that stands clearly by the Israeli side, but also conveys to the Israeli government that the way it tries to solve the problem with Hamas from a German point of view is not the right solution and the right path, and we are going to try to make this clear with all diplomatic means. Well, after the EU Commission President proposed and announced initiatives and proposals in the Parliament, we are waiting for things to become more concrete, and we will have talks on European level. And allow me to ask another question regarding Ukraine. The troops in Ukraine, the events in Poland and Romania, do the events have changed something for Germany? Do you consider or think that troops are an option in Ukraine? Well, the violation of the sovereign rights of Poland and Romania and the incursion of Russian drones into Russian NATO territory has shown it to us that Putin does not want peace and further promotes an escalation of this conflict. And that means that we need to increase pressure. We are currently preparing the 19th sanctions package. Together with France, Germany has worked on proposals, and we hope that we can quickly agree on this. And furthermore, we call upon the Americans, the U.S., which have announced since early summer to impose sanctions. And we know that more than 90 senators are in favor of that. And I wonder why this is not being implemented. The United States see themselves on the territory of freedom, and the United States see themselves on the side of freedom, and we need to act, and we need to bolster our defense capabilities within NATO. The Bundeswehr, the Federal Armed Forces, are going to be better equipped, and we need to focus on our air defense, on improving our air defense, become quicker, and increase our capabilities, and also have more capabilities at NATO's borders. But I know this is also a priority of my colleague, the Defense Minister Pistoria. Last question. Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Minister, and hello, Madam Foreign Minister. Journalists are under great pressure in the United States. The American president filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, and Elmar Thewersen, a German journalist, was threatened to have his visa rescinded. How do you address this? Do you talk to the Americans? Do you consider talking to the ambassador? Well, the federal government is in favor of and is of course, working and to make sure that journalists are able to work independently. It is enshrined in our basic law, but also internationally. We, of course, campaign for freedom of speech, and this, of course, also contains that we work to help that journalists can work independently. It is clear the current plans would impede free reporting, and it is unacceptable for us. We are waiting to see what measures are taken. I just want to express my hope and my expectation that free reporting and free journalism in the United States of America for German journalists is not in any way impeded. Thank you very much. This concludes today's press conference. Thank you very much.